Yes guys, the Pixel 10 series is here and welcome to my gaming video of the Pixel 10, the Pixel 10 Pro and the Pixel 10 Pro XL to find out what Google has done to improve and change the gaming dynamics for the Pixel 10 series. Now we know quite well that the Pixel 10 series is all about AI and what it brings to the table, but this is a brand new processor on here. We have the Tensor G5 from Google, and this processor should give us at least improved performance compared to last year. So let's go ahead and take a look. So let's start off with the hardware for each of these devices, starting off with the Pixel 10. Now the Pixel 10 comes in at 6.3 inches. I will say one thing you notice with all the devices, they feel a little bit heavier, but very comfortable at the same time altogether. This is a Gorilla Glass Victus 2 display, and we do have a 4,800 roughly milliamp battery. I'll have the right number for you on screen. As I mentioned, this is a Tensor G5 processor, so we do have that there. And the display goes from 60 to 120 hertz. So this is a little bit older. Newer displays do 1 to 120 hertz, but again, this is the base Pixel model here. Now, in terms of the speakers are improved. The top speaker has been updated, not the bottom speaker. And we will get a speaker test in this video to kind of compare them up. Now, the next device is the Pixel 10 Pro. Now, I do have it here in this moonshot color. The speakers, I'm gonna start off with the speakers. Both the top and bottom speakers are updated, so that is a big plus. 6.3-inch display, of course, Gorilla Glass Victus 2. We do have a bigger battery here as well. Tensor 5 GPU, and then this comes with 16 gigabytes of RAM, while the Pixel 10 came with 12 gigabytes of RAM. And of course, the final bad boy is the Pixel 10 Pro. Coming in at 6.8 inches, this is the beefier and bigger of the devices here. This also has a Gorilla Glass Victus 2 display, and this also goes from 1 hertz to 120. Both the Pro and the Pro XL have those features. The battery is bigger at about 5,200 milliamps, and we do have upgraded speakers on both the top and the bottom. So that's pretty nice to see that at least Google has done some things to improve on the speakers. Now, in terms of cooling, I don't know if they've done any improvements there, but we will go ahead and find that out in this gaming video. Now, we have to do, of course, at least one benchmark test. I went ahead and I downloaded Geek Benchmark. I did have to sideload it onto the system just because it wasn't available in the App Store for this device. So take some of these numbers with a grain of salt, but we can always compare that to some of our gaming itself. And as you can see, each device next to each other, the Pixel 10, 10 Pro, and 10 Pro XL. The Geekbench numbers for CPU, we do have some decent single core scores, but multi-core scores are pretty low. They're about half what you would probably get with the Galaxy S25 Ultra with its Snapdragon chipset. So that's where you're seeing a clear difference there. Some of the scores for the single core are not bad, but honestly, it's half of that. So take it as you will. Same thing with the GPU scores. They are very low for the Pixel 10, 10 Pro, and 10 Pro XL. Doesn't mean it can't compute, but then again, this is a sideloaded app that is not fully customized for the system, so we'll have to see. But we can definitely measure that with our gaming experience. And on this video, we're actually playing 4 games. We're playing Call of Duty Mobile, Delta Force Mobile, we're also playing Wuthering Waves, and Genshin Impact. So those are the 4 games. Some of them are very graphically intensive. And of course, with Call of Duty Mobile, we know that's the game that's our basic benchmark. So we start with Call of Duty Mobile.
Hostile VTOL inbound. We lost the lead.
So looking at all the Pixel devices, the 10, the 10 Pro, and the 10 Pro XL, playing Call of Duty Mobile, we're getting 90 frames per second. Now, typically you can get up to 120 frames. With the Pixel 10, with it's 90 frames per second while playing. Pixel 10 Pro, the same thing, as well, so the 10 Pro XL. So at 90 frames, which is great, but doesn't match what we typically get from something like Snapdragon and the Dimensity chipset. Now, moving over to Delta Force Mobile. Now, this is a game that I've just added to the gaming playlist, playing, of course, their Warfare experience. You can see the settings on screen. Now, Delta Force Mobile is a game that can go up to 144 Hertz, but I'm capped below that on the settings. I don't even get up to 120 frames per second in the settings because it basically kind of goes with whatever the chipset can do. So while playing Delta Force Mobile, looking at all three of the devices, the Pixel 10, 10 Pro, and 10 Pro XL, I was getting roughly around low 50s in terms of frame rate, so about 50 FPS, 50 to 53 for all three of the devices. Very consistent, game played well, there were no slowdowns that were noticeable. I was able to go ahead and complete my gaming session here. But in terms of the FPSs, around 50 frames per second. Then, of course, there is Genshin Impact. Now, Genshin is a game, of course, that is very graphically intense, and this is one that the Pixel has not done well in the past. Now, on all three of the devices, I went to 60 FPS, maximum settings for all three. So I put it at the max that you can get. And starting off playing Genshin Impact, all three devices, the 10, 10 Pro, and 10 Pro XL, started at 60 FPS, which was good to see. But after roughly around 5 to 6 minutes, it started dipping down and continuously all the way down to around 40s. I did get to a point with one device, the Pixel 10 Pro XL, which actually dipped all the way to 23, just in one fight sequence, but the average is roughly around 42 to 45 frames per second, which is low. And if I continued for an hour longer gameplay sessions, I expect that to dip lower. So, in terms of a game like Genshin, you're going to get much lower FPSs if you're playing at 60 FPS. So just bear that in mind. And it feels like it's a little bit improved from last year, but not by much. So I would say it's pretty much the same. Now, the last game is Wuthering Waves, which is a game that I just started playing, and I wanted to see how it does with a game like this. Now, in the settings, you can go and change the FPS to 60 FPS, and also you can see how well it does. In terms of, now in the settings, you go ahead and change that. You can see all of them are set to the maximum setting possible for this devices. That is the Pixel 10, 10 Pro, and 10 Pro XL. And while playing, and this is a boss battle where, as you can see, the environment is pretty much just dark and there's not a lot of features in the environment. I was getting roughly an average of about 47 frames per second on all three devices, the 10, the 10 Pro, and the 10 Pro XL, which is quite consistent. Gameplay was still pretty smooth. Didn't notice that much in terms of slowdowns, but it was decent enough. Now, when it comes to temperatures, you're wondering, okay, what kind of temps am I getting from all these devices? Now, depending on the game you're playing, games like Call of Duty Mobile won't give you, of course, large temperatures or high temperatures, just because they're not as intensive as the others. Wuthering Waves, Delta Force Mobile, and Genshin Impact are the games that will give you that kind of high temperature range. Now, the highest temperature I recorded was on the Pixel 10 Pro, which gave me up to 112 degrees while gaming. Now, the other two devices, the 10 and the 10 Pro XL, went to a maximum of 106, 107 degrees. So that is something to bear in mind. You can see the temperatures on screen. I wish the cooling was better, and also it felt really warm holding around just the edges, which is something to take note. Now, when it comes to battery life, here is where the battery life improvements are quite noticeable. I played for roughly about 2 hours in total on and off, and I probably lost about 25 to 30% on all three devices, but they have bigger batteries, so you're gonna get longer play time. And because you cannot max out the games as you would have, you probably get a longer gaming session if you just go with, of course, whatever standard settings that work for the Pixel 10, 10 Pro, and 10 Pro XL. Now, as gamers, we also love our audio. That's a very big thing. And they improved speakers on all three devices, from the Pixel 10 with the improved top speaker, the Pixel 10 Pro and 10 Pro XL with improved bottom and top speakers. So let's take a listen to all three. pretty good. Now, I felt that Pixel 10 Pro XL sounded really loud and clear in comparison to the other two. I think it kind of goes 10 Pro XL, 10 Pro, and then Pixel 10. I would love to see how well the Pixel 10 Pro XL sounds against, say, the Galaxy, the iPhone, and I think I'll do that comparison once the new iPhone comes out. We'll get like a new speaker test, throwing also the Galaxy Z Fold series in there too. But the Pixel 10 Pro XL speakers sound very, very good and a nice improvement there. Wrapping things up, gaming on the Pixel 10 series is good. It's not great and it's not going to win awards. And to be fair, that's not something Google is focusing on. This is a system that has a lot of AI capabilities that focus for other things. But as gamers and someone who, if you buy a phone and you want to game, you want to be able to play on it anyway. I would say the Pixel series is more of a midline gaming system in comparison to things like the Galaxy, the iPhones, or even Chinese manufacturers like Xiaomi, Honor, Huawei, the rest of them. But I think they've done a good job in improving on some segments, and I think if you're not maxing things out, you get, of course, better gameplay sessions and also longer battery life. Overall, I would like to see Google fix this and make gaming a more of a priority on the system. Again, Pixel wants to be the flagship Android device, and I think it should cover all segments of that. Speakers and audio improvement, I do like, but gaming needs to be improved. I'm glad that I can get FPS counter on there as well, right built into the system. I don't have to do anything other than swiping down to basically activate it. But again, gaming has to improve on the Pixel series. So if you guys have any questions, any comments, let me know. You think I'm wrong, you think the numbers don't match, or you're like, yeah, this is what I expect. Leave your comments down below. But if you want to pick up a Pixel device, use the link down below, because again, this is a device that is new and also has some pretty cool features. I do like the fact that there is MagSafe here on this device, so which means you can game, have your MagSafe attachment to the back, and you can be charged all the way, which is pretty cool.